when you land in AI-MSL, you land on your projects. Think of them as apps. Could be one repo, multiple repo inside an application that you use. And so when we land on a project or what you would call one of your systems, we have a dashboard. And I think I want to look into right now for you guys is that um, we create the brains of the system, the virtual senior engineer, if you want, through a process of analyzing your code base, as I mentioned. And so think of it this way. A senior engineer, they're going to know the architecture of your system. They're going to understand very well, roughly speaking, what's the code inventory, what is part of your system, what is not part of your system, what connects to what. They'll probably have written half the product documentation and usually the entire onboarding guide.
Okay, so this is almost like that step one where we're talking about understanding the code base and the assessment phase, right?
Correct. So that's the first differentiator for our system. Step one, simulate a proper virtual senior engineer. Give the AI the context it needs to be well informed. That's something that takes a lot of time to do well and is not done well across the industry. So we specialize in this specifically, and all of that documentation can be downloaded. It creates a full map of what every function is in relation to any other function, how they connect. It gives you a kind of spider web. So if you want to say, what happens if I pull here, you get the whole blast radius.
Mm-hmm.
You get to see a level of detail and information that the AIs never have by default. So I'd say that's like the first step. So we do this assessment that also
Actually, do you mind if I pull you back just 1 second there, Antoine? So when you're talking about the assessment phase there, and you're giving the context to the platform, if you were to use Claude Code, can you achieve the same thing? What's the difference between the coding tools there and the process?
it's I just came up with this forest analogy as we were talking. It's similar to this, right? So Cloud Code, you can tell it, explore my code base, create documentation, and it will do so. Now, the level of quality will depend on how much time and how well you prompt it, right? It is not a trivial exercise to do a full semantic layer for a system. It's definitely not a trivial exercise. It can take you days to do that well. And then to have it redone every time you do a change is also not trivial. It's going to take a lot more time. In real life, when you ask Cloud Code, okay, I want to build something, here's what I want to build, how do we do that, right? It's going to start running in the forest at night with its flashlight, and the first tree that it sees that's going to look legit, that's going to be your answer. Your system may have, for example, like I said, 3 odd system, but the first one it picks becomes the odd system. So what we build is more like an actual map of the forest from daylight, from 5,000 foot above, so you can see the whole set of trees, how they interact, and so on. That's very unique. And that's why when you use AI-MSL and it starts asking you questions on what you want to build, the questions are actually informed. It's going to tell you, hey, you have 3 odd systems. You sure you want another one? How about just reorganizing them in a way that makes more sense? So it's very good because it comes across as a product manager or as an engineering manager because of that app graph, because of that knowledge we built it. So you can potentially do something similar, and hopefully you are in Cloud Code, but it takes a very long time to, and I would put our system here against anyone that I've seen.
Okay, so
Very, very
it's a
good.
consistent
Yeah.
and larger knowledge base ultimately, or context grounding.
Yes, it's also not just a question of having an AI analyze the files, but there's more to it than that. The code map that we do is I don't want to sound pompous, but it's mathematically proven. The link between each file and so on is calculated.
Mm.
It's not, it's deterministic. It's not just an AI that thinks that's how it works. So we double check, if you want, our context for the AI and ensure that it is actually true.
Mhm.
Sometimes when you build context with an LLM, it's going to make up some of the gaps, you know.
Okay.
So that's the first step, right? Ensure that your AI is well set up for success, that it knows what it's talking about. It has proper grounding. That is a very non-trivial task that we do, I think, very, very well right now. The second part is going to We provide you some metrics. So this is mostly for engineering managers. We provide change friction index. We provide a whole lot of data that people can read up. But in a nutshell, the fun happens in workspace. So in workspace, we have the ability to create features. And so when you start a change, and then this is what I was talking about, the first step that happens is the AI will ask you, okay, so let's chat. Do you want to just have a quick chat? Do you want to give me a file somewhere that you uploaded, or is it a link to something? It's an interaction. And this is a part that really blows the mind of many customers. People come to this thinking it's some kind of survey. It's not a survey. It's an actual interaction with an LLM that's well informed. And you can tailor it as you go. You can tell it, you talk too much. Be more succinct. Give me shorter answers. Or ask me more questions. I'm not sure I understand this. So you can go left and right. It's
Okay,
a
but
chat.
the purpose of this section here is for us to define what we're looking to achieve, right?
Yes. So right now we're in requirements. So we're defining the what. So once you define the what, you'll reach a point where you have a reality check, what we call a gate. And that gate is based on a file that's provided, in this case, a problem validation file. So this is the AI telling you, I think this is what you want to build. Is that accurate or not?
So,
And that reality check is super important because it lets you really dial in what you want.
so is that almost is that the output a PRD or is that comments on the PRD? Right, like
Well,
you submitted your request. This is what I want to do.
correct.
Yeah.
So you start the chat, you are asked a few questions. The moment the AI thinks it knows what you want, it's going to provide you a problem definition file, a problem validation file. This fleshes out what it thinks you want. And if you agree to it, you have more questions coming your way, which will really take care of edge cases mostly. At the end of that, then you have a PRD. This is just an example, PRD. And once you read it and you approve it, you can continue. You'll see the price, the requirements, the explanation, and you submit to development. And that's where the customer's journeys end. So it's not uncommon to see people, some of my customers, it's not uncommon to see them do two or three of these at a time. They'll have time to think about something over the weekend. They come in Monday morning, and then we see our users spike go way up because they start to do many changes at one time.
When you say coming in Monday morning, could you break into that a little bit more? Because like I said, with the individual tools, and when I'm making my agents, I have to kind of sit there and watch
Right,
and approve each change. So how could I get to Monday morning?
correct. So imagine you're either a CEO or a visionary of some kind or a product manager, right? You'll wrap up your week, and over the weekend, usually you'll have some ideas that you could do in the software that you're using. Usually at that point, either you start working with Cloud Code and it's truly hit and miss, and the engineering manager will start yelling at you very soon, or you do it properly, you schedule meetings with engineering, you try to see, can it be done, how, and so on. And defining the what is now going to take you a couple of weeks. In this system, defining the what is not has nothing to do with engineering. You started the chat like we show here. You explain what you want, and you have a conversation. Because the AI is grounded, it has proper context. It's going to ask you the relevant engineering questions, the relevant product questions to define a PRD that is truly fleshed out, that is ready for engineering. And once you push that submit button, you're done. At the end, after
Does
all
that
of
mean
this,
no auto accepts?
hmm?
Does that mean no auto accepts as you work with the Claude and having to approve each different stage?
Well, it means that you have a sidekick. It means that you have an ally in this system that will not take for granted whatever you say.
Hmm.
Like I mentioned, this is really important. If you tell the Cloud Code, okay, I want to create a new auth system for my system, it's not designed to be as adversarial and as well informed as our system.
Hmm.
So it's just going to say, oh, okay, you already have one, but sure, let's go ahead. Our system knows how many you have by default. It knows the architecture. If you tell it you want another one, it's going to push back perhaps and say, "Are you sure? Would option B be better for you?" So you don't walk in blind and end up with a blind PRD. You walk in informed, and you come out even more informed with a PRD that's well grounded
Mhm.
into reality. Something that the engineering manager will say, "That's actually pretty good." Yes, and I've heard that.
Okay, so you send it off once you've got your PRD done and it begins executing. What's next?
Well, this is where we start defining the how. So in the specs phase, we have four gates, and that has nothing to do with customers, by the way. The customer defines the what, it defines the requirements. Once they tell the system, I'm done, get to work, we on our end, via AI and via senior software engineers, define the how. So the AI will go through the process. The engineering side on our end will be flagged when they need the input. If the let's say the confidence level is too low, and they'll have a gate. They'll have four reality checks moment, four gates, where they can review what the AI proposes and accept it or edit it. And that's the key differentiator, right? If you are if you are just a product manager, somebody that's not technical using cloud code, you are vibe coding. You are flying absolutely blind. Good luck. It may come up with something that looks okay, but usually you will make the angels in engineering weep a lot. It's not. It's going to take a lot more time to fix after the fact. So the value here is that first of all, you don't have to think about it. You're not paying for the engineering work that's going to happen. We take care of the engineering work. It's done following all the best practices, all the security checks, um, every possible check marks for quality that you can think of. We went through a lot of time and effort to ensure that we are producing the best possible code. It does also get checked. We have a ton of gates internally for QA. And when it's time to come back, we notify you that you are able to download the code um, or create a PR. And we provide a chain of custody so you know what happened, by who, how much time they took.
So this is where the governance bit comes in.
Yeah. The governance is at three level, right? So we have it at the change itself, but then that aggregates per code base at the project level if you want. And that, yet again, aggregates one level up to the organization. So a customer can have a governance and see it through various lenses, whatever was more appropriate.